Getting ready for a historic week in Monmouth football. First ever game against an FBS team will take place Saturday afternoon out at Central Michigan University alongside the head coach Kevin Callahan. I'm Matt Harmon on the Monmouth Digital Network. Coach, let's just go back a little bit. Week one, the loss to Holy Cross. I know disappointing, but what do you take positive out of that game now pushing forward?
Well, I think we saw a tremendous amount of resiliency in a part of our team. I thought they showed some tremendous grit. They fought to the very end. We dug us out a pretty big hole early on, but to the credit of the guys, they kept battling, kept playing, and although we weren't perfect the rest of the way, we did show that we had the ability to make some plays, put some points on the board, and get some stops on the defensive end. So I think if we can carry that forward, correct the mistakes that we did make, mistakes that, by the way, I think are extremely correctable, I think we'll be a much better football team next time out.
Obviously, this week, a little bit of an asterisk next to it, playing that first ever FBS school at Central Michigan. Talk about what you've said, the message to the players, or is this just being treated as a regular game?
Well, it is our first ever FBS game, but that's not the point that we're making with the team. The point that we're making with the team is we need to improve. We need to be a better football team. We need to play a better football game than we did a week ago. And if we can correct those mistakes, I think we'll be in much better position than we were last Saturday. Quite honestly, for as well as we did play at times against Holy Cross, there were simply too many mistakes, penalties, turnovers, what have you, and those prevented us from winning. So that's the focus of this week. That's not to take anything away from this, this first ever game against an FBS opponent, but we need to correct some things ourselves before we're ready to talk about the opponent.
This is a Central Michigan team that battled Oklahoma State all the way through their first four quarters of this 2015 season. When you look at the Chippewas, what kind of team do you see?
Well, offensively, they're a big, strong, physical team. They like to run the ball, and they do it very well. They have a tremendous offensive line who has the ability to knock people off the ball. The quarterback, a 3-year starter, had an outstanding season in 2014 and picked up where he left off against Oklahoma State. He was 28 of 41, 225 yards. He was able to get the ball to 8 different receivers, and they have a number of different receivers between the wideouts, the tight ends, the running backs to get the ball to. He has great vision, and they're a team that wants to run downhill right at you. On the defensive side, their front four is one of the best that I've ever seen. They're outstanding up front. Not only do they have size and strength, but they've got tremendous movement, and they've got a guy in the back end at the safety position who's just an outstanding football player, extremely active, really makes it difficult for offenses.
And the MAC as a whole, Coach, for maybe fans that aren't super familiar with it, a lot of professional players come from that league. It's been a real solid mid-major conference for several years.
Hey, it's been an outstanding conference. You take the teams like Northern Illinois and Bowling Green and teams like that have done extremely well in recent years. They give the Big Ten teams all they can handle each and every week. It's a high level of football. It's a well-coached football league. We're going to have quite a challenge on Saturday.
Coach, appreciate the time. We'll see you on Saturday afternoon.
Thank you.
That is the head coach, Kevin Callahan. Monmouth getting set to write another chapter in their Monmouth Football University history notebook. A game against Central Michigan. Broadcast time coming 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon on 1160, 1310 a.m. and streaming live at monmouthhawks.com.